what's up, Patriots? Wolf here. Welcome to the Alpha Wolf News Break. I have some interesting news today. We knew that 9/11 was going to be an important date. I didn't expect much today, to be honest with you. Typically, President Trump doesn't take much action on these type days. 9/14, that's something that's going to be common in 9/17. I believe they're going to be in important dates. But I do have some confirmed arrests I got today from military intelligence. Loretta Lynch, and I've only got a couple of, I know she's flipped. I assume all of them have flipped at this point, but I know Sally Yates has been arrested and she's been completely unmasked and flipped. James Clapper, John Brennan, James Comey, oh yes, Andrew McCabe, James Baker, he flipped in 2017, we know this, among others. Bruce and Nellie Orr, both of them been arrested. Peter Strzok, Lisa Page, gone. Lisa Page is also banging, I think James Comey, probably Andrew McCabe and John, a few of them, she was banging a bunch of them. Oh yeah, Susan Rice, they've got her too. And remember Eric, that C guy, you can't mention his name, the fake whistleblower? Well, he's also been connected to a Ukrainian Holocaust, and he's been arrested as well. So let's talk about George Soros and his little comment with the United Nations saying how China, not America, has the foundation to put forth Agenda 2030. Well, no shit, that's absolutely true. This Eric Schmidt, I don't know much personally about him. I know he pulls no punches, him along with Bill Gates, as far as being basically communist, that they're more loyal to China than USA. And just so you don't worry about this is also true. Remember, what I'm telling you is research intelligence. It's information that people say I'm crazy, and I imagine that's why nobody watches my channel, because I can't even comment when I see live chats. Mine's all very light white, grayish. You can barely see it. Because I'm speaking truth to you. It's all popping soon. Little by little, you're gonna start seeing all this shit. It's happening. There's no stopping this. This is done. It's already been done. China, as I was saying, President Xi is he's a good guy. He doesn't want the communists in that country either, and they've been removed from the country. But the issue here is we have the communists now, these CCP, the Chinese party, the communists, they've been removed from China. They are very much everywhere. They're everywhere in the world, in all these organizations, the UN, they run the UN. You don't believe me, you can look this up. Look, in every head department's going to be a Chinese citizen. Now they take an oath that they're not supposed to be, only representing their country, though they remain a citizen, of course, that they are basically a citizen of the world, and they do what's in the world's best interest. So we need to get the United Nations out of this country, but out of New York, out of this country. I mean, there's no coincidence that what's happening in New York is just on every level. These democratic cities are crushing themselves, but New York's really, it is completely compromised, 100% compromised. I'm going to get back to the dates I mentioned before with a little more insight. But communist China is absolutely running the United Nations. It's not even hidden. Like I said, you can look and find basically every single agriculture, education, science, technology, all the heads for those departments are communist Chinese citizens. Absolutely a fact. Absolutely a fact. They've taken over every international committee. It's completely pervasive. And this oath that they take for the greater good, for the greater good of a select few who believe that they are of a different bloodline. This isn't my words. These aren't my thoughts. None of this was crazy to me too at one point. I really was, but it's come out to be the truth. It's just the way it is. And I'm sorry if people can't understand that. Not only that, but the United Nations, their whole, I guess when you have a company or a corporation, they have their religious statement, their belief system, what they want to basically as a whole, if they were to categorize themselves. But what I'm saying, they truly follow Luciferian ethics and ideology. That's true. These are real facts that you can find. If you read, if you'd expand your mind, you'd be amazed at what you can fit inside there. Look up Agenda 2030. I can't get into all of that right now but just these are there. These are set in place. You can find this. I'm not dreaming this up. God's not talking to me. Do all roads lead back to the United Nations? Isn't it funny? All the same names keep popping up. You get George Soros, who I don't even believe is around. I believe that who knows? I can't explain it, so I'm not going to speculate on that. I have my very strong theories, and a lot of it is backed up, but I can't prove any of that. I'm hoping that at some point that sort of stuff will come to light. When did the Nazis actually go away? Did we win the war? I mean, I seem to remember that we won World War II. I think, I'm certain we won the ground war. Was there another war? Yeah, maybe there was, because isn't it interesting that the top national defense contractors are German? Isn't it interesting that all these generals, especially the ones that are really pissed off right now because there's no war, isn't it interesting that the overwhelming majority of them, all researchable? Again, don't take my word for it. Please don't take my word. This is what this is about. This is about the ability to critically think. I'm just trying to guide you. That's it. And I'm not any better than you. I just happen to find myself earlier on this path. I forgot what I was going to say. It was pretty interesting. Damn. Oh, yeah. The German. I mean, they worked for German companies. They were, consultants and on the boards of these German defense contractors. Back in 1961, when Dwight Eisenhower was telling us the military-industrial complex, he wasn't dreaming this up. What he was saying was, he's seeing that in wartime, like in the First War and the Second War and the other wars after after World War II is really when it started, to be honest with you, like heavy, you would have wartime weapon manufacturing. In other words, some of these factories would be converted to help with the war effort. What, in essence, Dwight Eisenhower was saying was, listen, this is becoming a career. This is becoming, you have auto mechanics, you have computer programming, you have landscape, you have construction, and you have building bombs, tanks, weapons, and planes and all that shit. It's become a constant job, a constant production line. And how do you keep these production lines going? Well, I mean, in an auto industry, what, you sell cars, right? People drive cars. What do you do to keep the war projects going? What do you do to keep that type of constant production? And it is constant. Well, you need war for that. It's the only way. Well, this president is against war, and he's done with war, and he's pulling our troops out, and they're almost all out. He's made this very clear, and that's why these generals are not happy with him at all. These generals are trying to kill him. In fact, we're going to go back to the dates, but there is an absolute plan. I've got military intelligence. I know this is real. I don't want to hear it, or I don't care, because you're wrong, and you're going to know. But they're trying to figure a way to take down Air Force One. These people are evil, sick, fucked, and they're caught, and that's the big issue here. They're caught. All right, a couple little things. Anderson Cooper, I don't think anyone really. This was a drop. Anderson Cooper is going to be doing like a town hall or some type of a bullshit thing, and there's going to be General Mathis, General Kelly, and General McMaster's, and it's basically a hit piece. That's why you're going to be seeing a lot, every day there's going to be some news story about how horrible Trump is. The interesting thing, well, let me get into Donald Trump in a minute, but okay, this is also from the military intelligence file. Out of the 182,000 sealed indictments, there have been 50,000 arrests. Documented, done. Now, we can't just grab those documents. He's working on getting the proof of that, but these are numbers that are real. Why haven't there been more? Because this is why there hasn't been more. As of Labor Day, the 30,000 agents in the FBI, out of 30,000 agents from top to bottom, half of them, literally half of them, are compromised. That means there's 15,000 coming out of there. Out of the 20,000 agents in the CIA, there's only 5,000 that are not compromised. So that leaves another 15,000, right? So you got 30,000 agents actively trying to subvert everything, right? This includes media, this includes Hollywood, this includes every facet of our lives. You know, I often refer to Project Mockingbird. I implore you, learn what Mockingbird was. Be sure to note the date, because that's going to be very enlightening to you. Another thing, well, we're gonna, like I said, well, let's get into it. Donald Trump. I always want to, well, this isn't the end, and I'd like to save this to last, but unfortunately, I've got some bad news to report after this. Good news that it's coming out, but it's really disturbing to talk about. It took me a couple times. I threw the pen and just was disgusted at what I'm hearing, and some of it I'm not even going to say. But Donald Trump, let's talk about Donald Trump. People are under this kind of, well, this program that there's the Democrats and the Republicans, and I know mostly I'm ripping apart the Democrats, but I promise you that's just because they're more prevalently demonic and openly demonic at this point. But there are a whole shitload of the Republicans. There is no two-party system. It's long been gone. It's one party. That's why, if you noticed, when Mitt Romney lost to Barack Obama, go find that footage. It's out there. The instant he found out you lost, it was as if nothing. Business as usual, just like this. That was what he did. He was on his phone. He goes, Barack Obama. He goes, Now, if I was to lose a fucking bowling match, you understand? If I lost a bowling match, I would have been more pissed off. This guy had no, indifferent is the only word that comes to mind. That is because it's already been set. It's already been set. So don't get upset when I'm tearing apart the Democrats. It's just that they're the most active demonic monsters. I say demonic and I hate it because there are times where I'll speak almost religiously. I'm not religious. Zero. I promise you, religion, and that's another arm of this bullshit we're going to find out. I don't go for the religious shit. It's a bunch of fucking lies. It's a bunch of control tactics. That's it. It's based upon some true events, but you better believe there is one source. That's when you hear about this grid we're all connected to. It's not a grid. We're all, I don't want to lose anybody. Our souls are very powerful and we're very ancient. All of us. That's all I'm going to say now. But let's talk about Donald Trump. You know, people, I hear this every day. In fact, in my own household, I'll hear this, because at some point you have to say, with all the stuff going on, and they're blaming him for the coronavirus, and they're blaming him, well, he didn't do enough. Well, what do you mean he didn't do enough? On January 28th, he closed travel from China completely and shut the border. And the Democrats called him a racist, a xenophobe. This is just not the way we do things. All the way into March 18th or 13th or 18th, Nancy Pelosi's sitting in Chinatown. Come on down, water's fine. Come on down, have some Chinese food. Right now, suddenly, that was 2 months later, after Donald Trump shut everything down and got torn apart for it. 2 months go by of these idiots parading around saying nothing is to worry about, that the president is fear-mongering. And now they're saying he didn't do enough and he downplayed the virus. Well, which one was it? Was he scaring you with the severity and veracity of it? Or did he do nothing? I just don't understand how the natural, intelligent, common sense, even stupid person at this point can't see that they're being fucking lied to. It's so evident. I'm watching somebody in my home. I see that they're starting to see. And they pretend that they hate everything, but I can tell she's way too intelligent. And she has to be saying that something ain't jiving. And that's just from she don't watch nothing. I think just a sensing. You're sensing it. We're feeling this. When I speak about the power in our souls, that's what I'm speaking about. We have abilities they don't want you to know we have. God, I sound nuts. I can't believe, if you only knew me a few years ago, I liked the conspiracy shit, and it was interesting to me. I didn't live my life by it. It's not a conspiracy when you have receipts. Do you understand that? That's why the best one, I'm dying for this. I'm dying for the Q is occult people. I'm dying to see their whole worlds collapse when they find out what's really happening. They're going to think I am either a time traveler or a prophet. Or perhaps I was right. Imagine that. The village idiot was right. Yeah, so he only wants power. Donald Trump is greedy. He became the president of the United States so he could make more money. Only he slipped 40 places in Forbes magazine. Have you even heard that? Has he complained about it? You don't hear that. Now that doesn't sound like a greedy fucking grah type of man. He has seen so much. He's seen so much horror that I don't even think he gives a shit about that at all. Like, that's the least of his concerns. People think it's Trump versus Biden. Get back to what I was saying, this two-party system. Trump versus Biden. No, my friends, this is Trump versus the Bilderberg Group. This is Trump versus the World Economic Forum. This is Trump versus Bill Gates. And all these foundations, corporations, they are a farce. These are money laundering schemes. This sounds like some kind of a Godfather movie. It's not. They're money laundering. There's child trafficking. There's child torture. There's fucking bribery, blackmail, real estate, all kinds of bullshit. And the irony is that's what they're now turning. Have you ever heard the word projection? Well, this is, if this is why the word exists. This is what they do. I'm at the point now where I was wary at saying this, but I can comfortably tell you this. If you're hearing it come out of those idiots' mouths, accusing Trump of doing it, you can bet your ass they're exactly doing that to the letter. That's how ridiculous they are. That is what my research was at first, like, getting difficult to prove because I couldn't believe it myself. And I'm wondering if that's not their strategy. Like, because I would see it in the news and I'm saying there's no way they can be lying because it would be so blatant of a lie that it would be so easy to prove that nobody could believe it. But they believe it. And they do it. And the reason is because they know you'll never look. They count on you being stupid. I'm going to say it. I don't hold much back with my mouth. It served me well and it served me bad, but I'm going to go with it. You know, this isn't Trump versus Biden. People just don't want... Let me break it down for you. This is good versus evil. That sounds like a cliche, right? That sounds like we're making... What is this? The Raiders of the Lost Ark? No. People don't want to believe that there's this kind of evil in the world. See, most people are inherently good. You know, we all have a dark side. We all say things. We all make judgments. But for the most part, we're decent as a race. As a human race. Another thing I'm not going to get into, but this racism shit, enough. Cut the shit. It's enough. I don't know these racists. I don't know them. But I do know that if there was racism, the worst thing you could do was combat it with more racism. I know black people, I know every people. And they're all the ones running around with their mask on when they're in their yard by themselves. They're the morons because they're so blind and they're so taken for a ride and have no idea. And they are fervently defending these people that are fucking them. And it perplexes me. I know when you're lying for the most part. Let's say you slip one through. I'm going to figure it out sooner or later because I'm going to remember. I have brains, I think. I don't think I'm any different. Maybe I have a better sniffer when it comes to bullshit, but this is what I'm getting at, I guess. And this is going to tie in. This is more than human, okay? I'm not a believer in the bullshit, but let me tell you, there's something happening here. There's something happening here. This is beyond human. You can't, remember, we could debate, we could speak to one another. There is no talking anymore. That's it. If they don't align with, or if you don't align with their ideology, you don't matter, you need to die. And that's their true belief system. Some on different levels, but to a degree, you're exiled from them or you should be gone. And that's not normal. Look at their eyes. Look at this Antifa. Look at these Black Lives fucking whatever the fuck. These people, these kids, our children are indoctrinated. Don't you see that? They all look very similar. They all look like school shooters, do they not? Someone's going to call me a racist or something for that, and I don't really give a shit what you call me. You have, get in the longest line you'll ever stand in. But I promise you, something's wrong here. These people appear to be programmed. That's it. This is Donald Trump versus evil. This is America versus evil. This is everybody that has some sort of a soul and a conscience and has morals and integrity and of some decent character. We have stood behind Donald Trump. He is our lawyer, so to speak, and we support him, not because of him. You're looking at a man that even the people around me don't believe me now, who know me. I hated him long before anything. When The Apprentice came on, I hated him. It just cemented the fact that he's an asshole. But let me tell you something. He's the only one that has the balls to do this. And God said, I will put a man with hot blood in that office. And boy, the hell did he. I'd rather have he's like my uncle at the table who just says shit that's true. We're all thinking it, but he doesn't diplomatically say anything. And you know what? People who think he's stupid, you guys are foolish people. Do you know what this man's done? First of all, he's got 156 IQ. That's not a dumb man. Do you know what he did? Do you know where a lot of this information, this intelligence came from that was given to us? Since anyone that's alive that was a CIA agent or an FBI agent, he went through all the records. He personally did this. Yes, I'm telling you this. I'm sure he had a team with him, but he was involved in it too, personally, reading. Anyone who knows him knows he still reads the newspaper. He's from the generation that we all miss and love. And somehow when he got elected, the programming made it so you had to hate. Oh my God. So, any FBI or CIA agent or any of these agents that were, within these alphabet places, when they would be like, they no longer, sudden departure, they were fired or they quit, and there's no real reasonable explanation given, he contacted each and every one of them. And you know what he found? A very, very large amount, I won't say overwhelming majority or even majority, but too many. And it brings it to the point where I'm debating calling it majority. A lot of them. Think about the brains behind this. What a clever thing to do for a moron, right? What happened? He questioned, why did you leave? What was the problem? You seem to be a good agent, or why did you punch your supervisor in the face, or whatever. And you know what he found? The overwhelming majority of them had resigned because of the drug trafficking from the Middle East. They just couldn't consciously do it. But that was what he found. It was a matter of conscience. And a lot of these agents told them everything they knew. Everything. And that's where a lot of this intelligence, I come to find out today, has come from. I didn't know that till this morning. So that gives me 9/11, does it not? I got the arrests. We've got what I just told you about the CIA guys and the agents and the FBI. 9/14. I don't know exactly. I do know, and maybe it'll be announced, maybe there'll be some light. I do know that there's 32 nuclear warheads and 2 of them are missing right now. I do know they're planning to take down Air Force One. I also know they want to do a test with one of the bombs under the London Bridge. I know this sounds ridiculous. Will it come to fruition? I really hope not. I hope I get 1 million comments telling me how stupid I am. But that's the plan. And on 9/17, September 17th, just 6 days from now, there's going to be an attack again at the White House. Attack, one way or the other, something. that's going to happen. Now, could I be hours off, a day off? I suppose, but my source is telling me that these are the days. You know, I don't know if that would change because we're all talking about it, but I surmise there's not many of us talking about this. Now, could that also be an attack on Air Force One? I want to include it, but he was really specific about the White House, so I don't know. I'll leave that up to you guys. All right, so that brings me there. Oh, this one quick little thing. This is funny. This is beautiful. All right. Peggy Fox. Peggy Fox. She's a reporter for some Channel 9 station. I'm not exactly even sure where it is. She was shot with a pellet gun in the arm. Bloody mess. It was a perfect thing. And I say perfect, hear me out, not as an animal. This woman drives to her brother's house. This is her story. And the coverage is absolutely fucking despicable. The news station is like unreal. And this unrepentant bitch. So Peggy Fox, with her daughter, she's driving to her brother's house. She drives to her brother's house. She parks on the street at her brother's house. She walks across the street and proceeds to rip out some guy's Trump sign. Well, that guy was locked and loaded with a pellet gun, and he shot her. Rightfully so. She runs across, and oh, they just shot me. You know her story is, had he just opened a dialogue and talked to me, I would have been reasonable. I would have known that was his sign and not my brother's sign that was leaving it up as a joke at his house across the street. Yeah, we believe that. Get the fuck. So all of a sudden, this highly Trump deranged syndrome psycho soy bitch is going to be all kinds of understanding and ready for diplomatic debate. Yeah, I would have loved to get footage of her and play. Had he just spoken to me, we could have, as she's running across the street, ripping out a sign, then getting shot. That must have been beautiful. Well, you know what this bitch says? You can't write this. I couldn't make this up. I wouldn't even think to be that stupid. And her newscast, this isn't just like, well, this is my story, but you know, I don't know how the drugs got there up my ass. Oh, I didn't know that was there. This isn't one of those. This is a real life story. And the news is covering like how things are getting out of control because the guy shot her for stealing his property in her yard, running across the street. She says she thought it was in her brother's yard and he put it on as a joke just to get at her. Look, that's fucking ridiculous. Even if they were next to each other, it's fucking ridiculous. I have to assume you've been there one time. I have to assume there is a distinction in the property line. I don't know. But when you walk across the street, I know, believe me, I know. In fact, I happen to be in a similar problem right now. And I assure you, nobody said, oh, this poor guy. No, I gotta pay for it. I gotta deal with it. Because when you walk across the street into your neighbor's house and break something or tear something or take something, you have just forfeited your right there. So what's she say? I hope this man, I swear to God, this is a quote. I hope this man has learned something from this. As if he did something wrong. And the fucking news channel is going with it. And you know what? All these idiots are going with the same thing. All right, let's get into one more thing. This is real important. And if you can't tell, I kind of been stalling a little. Right, Ginger? I got this little ginger pot pie here. It's a good girl. Okay. Well, I got a couple little things. You know, in Freeland, Michigan, Donald Trump gave a speech last night, I believe. And I got to just say, I love him. We love this president. I have grown to love this man. I pray for him daily. I appreciate what he's done. I can't imagine what he's sacrificed. And I'm praying for the day that everybody realizes that he's a good person. Not just a good businessman, not just a good president. He is a good human being. And he's funny. And he's funny as hell. He's that uncle that your uptight aunt doesn't want to giggle, you know, and she's sitting there and the uncle's just having a few beers and getting loud and telling the